Welcome, radiant dreamer, to the sacred treasure. Here we gather not as wanderers, but as creators of unseen worlds. Tonight we step into the law of imagination, the secret fire that shapes reality, the inner canvas upon which life is painted. If this is your first journey with us, breathe deeply and feel the doorway opening within you. To those returning, visionaries who walk beside us, your presence is the spark that lights this sanctuary. And if these words stir your spirit, I invite you to like and subscribe, not for numbers, but to strengthen this living temple of imagination where thought becomes flesh and vision becomes life. Introduction. Entering the inner temple. Welcome, pilgrim of light, to a holy space woven between breaths. Imagine stepping inside a grand temple carved of moonlight, where columns of crystal rise from pools of reflection and the air hums with an unseen choir. This temple has no roof because its ceiling is the night sky itself, pierced by an infinity of stars. This is not a place on any map. It is the sanctuary within your own chest. The law of imagination lives here, etched into the stone of your being. As you listen, you will journey not outward, but inward, through corridors of memory and rivers of light that flow from the eternal flame at your center. You will meet elders carved from archetypes, hear myths that mirror your own life, and feel the heartbeat of a tribe that spans time. We who walk this path are seekers and travelers of the unseen. We are the children of stardust who have chosen to awaken. Our circle gathers in a valley of the soul where time slows and the mind bows. The eternal flame burns in the middle of our camp, casting shadows that dance like ancient storytellers. Each flame flickers differently, yet all are fed by the same invisible wind. We sit cross-legged on sacred ground, a carpet of moss and dew, and close our eyes to see more clearly. In this space, you are not alone. You belong to the tribe of those who dare to imagine new worlds and to remember the one within. Our campfire crackles with laughter, tears, and revelations. We share our dreams like bread, passing visions from hand to hand. We speak in whispers and chants, in songs older than memory. As these words touch your ears, let them flow like a river through you. Let the metaphors be like lanterns hanging from branches along your path, illuminating the way when doubt arises. You may find yourself standing at the mouth of a cave, hearing the roar of an ocean deeper than any sea. You may feel a heart within your heart, beating in secret rhythm with all that exists. The law of imagination is both simple and infinite. That which we hold vividly within becomes the tapestry of our lives. Yet this is no ordinary law. It is cosmic and intimate, ancient and alive, awaiting your breath to activate its magic. Every so often, let us pause together, breathe, and feel the pulse of this sacred transmission. Perhaps awe will rise like morning mist when you realize that every thought is a thread connecting you to the fabric of the universe. Perhaps you will feel intimacy when I whisper that the beloved you seek is already here, hiding inside your own laughter. Perhaps revelation will strike like thunder when you remember that your imagination is the brush God gave you to paint your world. Allow yourself to be moved. For this is not just an audiobook, it is a ceremony, an initiation, a soul journey across the waters of possibility. Let each word be a footstep, each silence a heartbeat. Together, let us begin. Chapter 1. The Seed of Worlds. When you close your eyes, worlds bloom. What if every thought you cradle is a seed? Imagine your mind as fertile soil and your feelings as rain and sunlight. The law of imagination teaches that every image you hold, every emotion you allow to linger, carries within it the potential of a garden or a desert. Seeds are small, invisible, and seem insignificant when they first fall into the dark earth, yet encoded within them are forests, orchards, and meadows waiting to emerge. We who walk this path honor the unseen potential in everything we think and feel. We understand that imagination is not a frivolous plaything. It is the sacred soil from which reality sprouts. Let us travel to a desert village where a woman named Amina once lived. This story has been told around countless fires in our circle because it illustrates the law's power. Amina's village was parched, a place where sand and rock met the endless sky. Generations had survived by gathering dew at dawn and living off hardy shrubs. The children had never seen a green field. Their elders barely remembered the taste of fresh fruit. One night, after a day of collecting water from a distant well, Amina collapsed on her straw mat, exhausted. In her dream, a figure cloaked in light appeared by her bed. In one hand, he held a seed. In the other, a watering can overflowing. "This is yours," he said, placing the seed on Amina's heart. She awoke with the seed still there, not in physical form, but as an image she could feel and see whenever she closed her eyes. Each morning after that, Amina would sit outside as the first rays painted the dunes pink. She would close her eyes and imagine a lush garden. She walked through rows of emerald leaves. She smelled jasmine climbing trellises. She heard the laughter of children splashing in clear streams. Her hands brushed dew off fig leaves. She felt the weight of mangoes. These weren't fantasies. They were living visions she nourished with her emotion. When fear whispered, "It's impossible," she breathed deeply, returning to the feeling of cool mud between her toes. When the villagers teased, she smiled, seeing them as future guests in her garden. Months passed. The outer landscape remained unchanged, but inside Amina, something had shifted. Her imagination became a wellspring. One night, clouds gathered over the desert, heavy with rain. The villagers awoke to thunder and the smell of petrichor, the scent of earth receiving water. Raindrops pounded the roofs, then seeped into the parched ground, awakening seeds that had been asleep for decades. A creek carved a new path beside Amina's hut. Moved by her visions, she planted the dried seeds she had saved from her travels: date pits, melon seeds, and mysterious pods. Against all expectations, shoots emerged. Tender green threads pushed through the sand and unfurled leaves toward the sky. The transformation didn't stop there. The children who had played by dusty roads now wove garlands of marigolds and rolled in grass. Travelers brought seedlings from faraway places, wanting to contribute to the miracle. Amina's garden expanded until it became an oasis. Birds returned, bees hummed, the air filled with life. The villagers, once skeptical, began to imagine their own possibilities. They built new wells and irrigation channels. They dreamt of schools and markets. Soon, the oasis became a thriving town. When people asked Amina how she did it, she placed her hand over her heart and said, "I walked there before I planted here." The law is simple: what you water grows. The emotional cadence of this story rises with the harshness of desert life, swells with Amina's unwavering inner vision, and releases in the cascade of rain that births a garden. Our circle draws many lessons. First, that imagination precedes creation. Second, that staying faithful to a vision despite external barrenness is an act of courage. Third, that your personal dream can become a blessing for others when pursued with love. As you listen, consider the seeds you hold. Perhaps they are seeds of love, creativity, healing, or freedom. Some may be seeds of fear or worry. Know that seeds do not judge. They simply grow when given attention and feeling. If you feed seeds of resentment, you harvest bitterness. If you feed seeds of generosity, you harvest abundance. Choose consciously which seeds to water. This is the essence of the law of imagination. Sacred practice, planting the inner seed. Find a quiet place where you will not be disturbed. Sit comfortably with your spine tall, like a tree reaching toward the sun. Close your eyes. Inhale deeply through your nose, filling your belly like a sacred vessel. Exhale slowly, releasing any tension. Do this 3 times, feeling yourself settle. Now, bring to mind a seed, a desire, quality, or experience you wish to grow in your life. It could be peace, creativity, a loving relationship, health, or a sense of purpose. Visualize this seed resting in the palm of your hand. Notice its size, shape, and texture. With your next inhale, imagine placing this seed into the soil of your heart. Feel it sink into warm, fertile earth. With each breath, send gentle rain and sunlight to this seed through your attention and feeling. See it sprouting. Watch tiny roots reaching downward, anchoring into your being. See a shoot breaking upward, forming leaves, then flowers or fruit. Feel the joy of harvesting what has grown. Stay with this image until you can feel it as real. When doubts arise, simply return to the feeling of nurturing. Commit to revisiting this inner garden daily. Through this practice, you honor the law of imagination. Chapter 2. The river beneath our skin. A stream of light flows within us. Beyond the seeds we plant lies a river. Not a river of water, but a current of energy, thought, and feeling that courses through your body and beyond. Many have sensed this current in meditation. A tingling in the spine, a warmth in the belly, a pulsing behind the forehead. This is the inner river that carries your images and emotions from the unseen into the seen. The law of imagination teaches that thought is not just a mental cloud, it is a vibration that travels along this river, nourishing certain fields of possibility while leaving others dry. Where your attention flows, energy goes. In our circle, we honor this river by gathering near its physical counterpart. One summer night, under a moon so full it seemed to burst, we sat by a great river whose waters whispered secrets of mountains and forests. Fireflies hovered like stars fallen to earth. Elder Kian, his voice deep and steady as a drum, looked at the shimmering current and said, "Watch how the river curves, how it carves the land simply by flowing. Your imagination is like this." A consistent, gentle, yet persistent focus will shape the landscape of your life. To embody this teaching, he shared the story of a boy named Leo. Leo lived in a city of steel and screens, where the air vibrated with constant noise and the pace of life was relentless. He felt disconnected, like driftwood tossed by waves of others' expectations. He studied a subject he did not love because society praised it. He dated someone who fit a checklist, but not his heart. He wore clothes to impress, not to express. One evening, feeling hollow, he wandered down an unfamiliar alley and found a small shop filled with old books. Dust motes danced in shafts of afternoon light. Drawn inside, he discovered a shelf of worn journals with blank pages. He purchased one without knowing why. That night, in the quiet of his tiny apartment, he opened the journal. The blank paper invited him. He felt something stirring in his chest, like the first ripple in a still pond. Without thinking, he began to write. At first, his words were complaints about his job and city, but soon his pen moved differently. He wrote of a life by the ocean, waking to the sound of waves, painting in a sunlit studio, sharing meals with friends who loved art and philosophy. He described colors and textures, teal waves, golden sand, the smell of salt and paint. He saw himself laughing, tanned, free. As he wrote, he felt his inner river change course. The static noise of the city faded, the present moment softened. Over the next weeks, he added drawings to his journal, sketches of coastal cottages, seabirds, paintbrushes. He began visiting the art section in bookstores, watching documentaries on painters, and chatting with local artists at galleries. As Leo nurtured this inner river, outer events began to align. A friend he hadn't seen in years called, mentioning an art residency by the coast needing an assistant. A relative passed away unexpectedly, leaving Leo a modest inheritance. He saw this as both loss and gift. He felt a tug to leave the city, but doubt swelled like floodwaters. What if I fail? What will people think? Still, his inner river had gained momentum. He applied for the residency and was accepted. He used his inheritance to move and support himself while learning. Weeks later, he stood on a cliff overlooking the vast ocean, journal in hand, the scent of salt in his lungs. He realized that his persistent inner vision, carried along the river beneath his skin, had carved a path from city to sea. The emotional cadence of Leo's story flows with his initial disconnection, surges with the discovery of his journal, and finds release when his river leads him to the ocean. It illustrates that imagination is not enough. Sustained focus and emotion are required to redirect our inner current, which in turn carves new realities. As you listen, ask yourself, where is your inner river flowing? Does it meander through fields of worry, picking up debris of fear? Does it feed lush meadows of possibility? The law of imagination invites you to be conscious stewards of your attention. When you repeatedly imagine scenarios of failure, your river erodes cliffs of confidence. When you imagine moments of joy and success, it nourishes valleys of opportunity. You cannot control every rock or twist in the river, but you can choose the general direction by choosing what you consistently think and feel. Sacred practice, flowing with the inner river. Find a comfortable seat, spine aligned, feet on the ground. Take a moment to feel the points where your body touches the earth. Close your eyes. Bring your awareness to the crown of your head. Imagine a gentle stream of light entering here from a loving, universal source. It flows down behind your forehead, through the space between your eyebrows. Feel it descending along the back of your throat, into your heart, filling it with warm light. As you inhale, imagine drawing this light down further into your solar plexus, your belly, your hips, and finally pooling in your pelvic bowl like water filling a lake. With each exhale, imagine the light rising back up, bringing warmth and clarity. Continue this for several breaths, feeling a circuit of light within you. Now pick a vision you desire, perhaps a relationship filled with harmony, a creative project flourishing, or a state of inner peace. Imagine the river carrying nourishment to this vision. See it watering fields of possibility. Notice if there are obstacles, rocks of doubt, fallen branches of fear. Instead of fighting them, see the river flowing around them gracefully. Feel this current aligning your inner and outer worlds. When you feel complete, gently open your eyes, carrying the sensation of the river within you. Chapter 3. Guardians of the Threshold. At the gate of change, fears whisper loudly. On any path of growth, there comes a moment when you stand at a threshold. Behind you lies the familiar. Ahead, the unknown. It is here that guardians appear. Voices that question, warn, sometimes terrify. These guardians are not your enemies. They are aspects of your psyche designed to protect you from perceived danger. The law of imagination acknowledges these threshold keepers and teaches us to engage with them consciously. Fear itself can become a teacher if you know how to listen. In our circle, we honor these guardians. When someone expresses doubt, we don't dismiss them. We gather closer. Elder Suri, whose eyes are deep and wise like ancient wells, often reminds us, fear stands at the doorway of your next expansion. Bow to it, thank it, then step through. She tells a myth that has been passed down through ages, the myth of the Golden Bridge and the dragon. In a kingdom separated by a chasm, there was a legendary golden bridge connecting the land of shadows to the land of light. The land of shadows was comfortable, predictable, yet heavy. The land of light was said to hold endless creativity, love, and freedom. At the entrance of the bridge lived a dragon, enormous and fierce, with scales black as night and eyes that gleamed with fire. Many who longed to cross would walk toward it, but upon seeing the dragon's flames, they turned away in terror. They believed the dragon's purpose was to destroy them. Some tried to fight with swords and strategies, but the dragon's breath melted their weapons. One day, a young woman named Mira approached the bridge. She had heard the stories and felt fear rising like a storm, but her desire for the land of light was greater. She walked slowly, feeling the heat of the dragon's breath. Instead of drawing a weapon or running, she placed her hand on her heart and spoke, "Guardian of the threshold, I see you. Thank you for protecting this passage. I know you have kept many safe within the familiar, but I choose now to grow. What do you need from me?" The dragon's eyes softened. It lowered its head and replied not with fire, but with a deep voice that echoed through the chasm. "I am here to test your devotion to your dream. Those who half-heartedly desire the light cannot pass. They must return and strengthen their will. I need your courage." Mira breathed deeply, feeling both fear and love. She bowed and whispered, "I carry courage, not because I am fearless, but because I move with my fear." As she stepped forward, the dragon opened a path. She touched its scales gently, feeling warmth instead of heat. With each step, she felt her fear transform into exhilaration. She crossed the bridge and discovered that the dragon was not an external monster, but a projection of her own doubt. By facing it with love, she transformed her fear into strength. The emotional cadence of this story peaks at Mira's confrontation with the dragon and resolves in her realization that the guardian was her own energy. Our circle resonates with this myth because each of us has faced our own dragons, voices that say, "You are not worthy, you will fail, you will lose what you have." When we treat these guardians as enemies, they grow bigger. When we approach them with curiosity and love, they reveal the gifts they protect. In daily life, guardians show up as procrastination, perfectionism, or self-sabotage. When you plan to start a business, a voice might remind you of your past failures. When you want to open your heart to love, a memory of betrayal might surface. These guardians are not random. They are parts of you that develop to protect you from pain. They need acknowledgement, not dismissal. Sacred practice, meeting the threshold guardian. Find a comfortable seat. Close your eyes. Imagine yourself walking through a landscape that reflects your current life. You come upon a gate or doorway, ornate, glowing, perhaps made of vines, wood, or light. On the other side lies a reality you desire, a loving relationship, a calling, a state of peace. Before the gate stands a guardian. Let it take a form that feels right to you, a dragon, a shadow, a person, a giant serpent, a voice. Notice its size, color, demeanor. Do not judge. Approach with respect. Place your hand on your heart and say silently, "I see you. Thank you for protecting me. What do you need me to know to pass through?" Listen. Perhaps the guardian says, "You must forgive someone," or "You must believe you are worthy," or "You must grieve." Acknowledge its wisdom, then say, "I choose to step forward with love." Feel courage rise in your chest. Imagine walking toward the gate. Notice how the guardian reacts. Maybe it nods, moves aside, or merges with you. Step through the gate. Feel the energy on the other side, the warmth, the colors, the sounds. Stay there, breathing, letting this new space imprint on your being. When ready, open your eyes. This practice helps you honor and integrate your guardians rather than battle them. Chapter 4. The Canvas of the Cosmos. You are both the brush and the painter. Imagine the universe as an immense canvas, unending and shimmering, alive with potential. The law of imagination teaches that each of us holds a brush dipped in luminous paint. We make strokes with our thoughts. We add color with our emotions. We define shapes with our beliefs. Most people paint unconsciously, splashing images handed down by culture, family, and fear. They repeat patterns simply because they are familiar patterns on their palette. But we who walk this path are called to paint deliberately, to co-create with the cosmos, to express our soul's unique vision. Our circle often meets in open fields under starry skies to remind ourselves of this canvas. We lay on our backs, watch meteors arc across the darkness, and feel the immensity of possibilities above and within. The sky becomes a mirror to our own inner canvas. One night, as a comet streaked by, Elder Arjun shared the story of a painter named Elara. Her life, though simple, would transform her village and illustrate the law. Elara lived in a village renowned for its murals. The elders controlled what could be painted: scenes of harvest, images of heroes, icons of their deity. These murals were beautifully crafted but repetitive. Elara apprenticed under her father, learning to blend pigments and hold a steady hand. Yet, whenever she closed her eyes, she saw different images: spirals of galaxies, beings of light with translucent wings, landscapes with floating islands, and crystal forests. She felt restless painting wheat fields for the 50th time. The elders scolded her when she added a tiny star cluster in the corner of a mural. "This is not the way," they said. "Stick to tradition." Elara obeyed outwardly, but inside, her imagination burned like a spark inside kindling. Unable to contain it, she began painting on the walls of her own hut. At night, with a single candle flickering, she dipped her brush in colors she made from crushed gemstones and midnight berries. She painted cosmic swirls, luminous beings, portals into other realms. On one wall, she painted a river that flowed up to the ceiling and turned into a galaxy. On another, she painted giant eyes weeping streams that birthed new worlds. Her tiny hut became a portal. When she painted, she lost track of time, hearing only the music of creation. She would sometimes cry, not from sadness, but from the beauty emerging from her brush. Word of her secret paintings spread. Children whispered about the colors shining through the cracks in her walls. One by one, people snuck into her hut. Instead of scorn, their jaws dropped. A farmer, who had never left the village, stood before a painting of a nebula and felt his heart expand beyond the fields he had plowed for decades. A mother who had lost a child sat before a canvas of luminous beings and wept, feeling her child among them. A rigid elder entered, ready to reprimand, but when he saw a painting of the village surrounded by protective spirits, tears streamed down his weathered cheeks. Ilara's hut became a sanctuary where people came to dream. Eventually, the elders themselves visited. They expected to see blasphemy. Instead, they found new stories on the walls, their ancestors, the elements, the cosmos. They realized that tradition had become stagnant because they had stopped imagining. Inspired, they asked Ilara to paint the village square anew. She hesitated, then agreed. With the entire village watching, she painted a mural unlike any before. A scene of the village embraced by swirling galaxies, the villagers' faces glowing with inner light, the fields interwoven with cosmic threads. As she painted, she spoke. The world outside mirrors what we dare to paint within. If we paint our souls as barren, our fields will follow. If we dare to paint our inner cosmos, our world will expand. The emotional cadence here rises with Ilara's inner rebellion, peaks with her secret creation, and resolves with her public art transforming tradition. Our circle listens to this story and knows that we, too, have huts inside where we paint secretly. Perhaps those huts hold our most authentic dreams, hidden from a world that may not understand. The law of imagination calls us to bring those inner murals into the open, to paint beyond familiar lines. What images do you repeatedly project onto your life? Are they black and white scenes of limitation? Are they vibrant landscapes of possibility? You are both the brush and the painter. No one else can paint your canvas. Even when others try to hand you their brush, your soul knows the strokes that are yours. Sacred practice, painting your inner canvas. You will need a piece of paper and something to write or draw with. If unavailable, use the canvas of your mind. Sit somewhere you feel safe and inspired. Take a deep breath and exhale fully. Close your eyes for a few moments and imagine yourself inside Ilara's hut. See the walls shining with galaxies and glowing beings. Feel the creative energy swirling. Ask yourself, what does my soul long to express right now? Wait. Perhaps a color, shape, symbol, or scene arises. Open your eyes and begin to draw or write whatever comes. Do not judge or censor. Let your hand move as if it were guided by a loving force. If you're drawing, fill the page with color and shape until it feels complete. If writing, let the words pour like paint. When finished, look at your creation. See it as a window into your inner cosmos. Place it somewhere you can see daily. Each time you look at it, remember you are the painter of your life. Chapter 5. The Mirror of the Heart. Reality reflects our inner state. In the depths of your chest, there is a mirror that reflects not faces, but feelings. This mirror shows you the state of your inner world. When you look into it, you can see whether you carry resentment, love, joy, bitterness, fear, or hope. The law of imagination teaches that our outer experiences mirror these inner states. Just as a lake reflects the sky above, the world around you reflects the images and emotions you hold. If you perceive scarcity within, you will see scarcity outside. If you perceive love within, you will encounter it everywhere. Our circle venerates this mirror. We perform rituals with actual mirrors to make the intangible tangible. At dawn, we gather, each holding a small mirror. The sun peeks over the horizon, casting golden light across our circle. We sit in silence and watch our faces illuminated. We watch our expressions soften as warmth reaches us. Elder Hannah guides us. What you see is not just skin and bone, but an image of your inner state. If you want to change what appears outside, begin by polishing this inner mirror. She tells the allegory of the infinite lake, a story of two travelers whose perceptions altered their reality. In a mist-laden valley, there was a lake said to reflect not just physical appearances, but emotions and thoughts. The lake had no waves. Its surface was like polished obsidian. Travelers would journey from far lands to look into it for guidance. It was said that the lake never lied. One day, a man named Raj visited the lake. He carried bitterness from many betrayals and disappointments. When he looked into the lake, he did not see his face, but a landscape of thorns and storms. Dark clouds swirled, lightning struck. He saw himself walking alone in this landscape, tripping on rocks, fending off crows. He shouted at the lake, "Why do you show me such misfortune?" The lake did not answer. Raj left, cursing it. Shortly after, a woman named Lila came to the lake. She carried a heart full of gratitude after giving her last loaf of bread to a hungry child who knocked on her door. When Lila looked into the lake, she gasped. She saw a sunrise over rolling hills of wildflowers. She saw herself dancing, her hair catching the sun's rays. Birds flew overhead, and gentle rainbows arced across the sky. Tears filled her eyes, not from sadness but from joy. She whispered, "Thank you," to the lake. When she turned to leave, she met Raj on the path. Seeing her radiant expression, he asked what she had seen. She described her vision. Raj's brows furrowed. "We must have looked into different lakes," he muttered. "No," Lila said gently. "The lake reflects what we carry." Weeks later, Raj, tired of his bitterness, returned to the lake. This time, he sat by its edge for days, listening to the water, feeling the wind. He remembered moments of kindness he had experienced. A stranger helping him fix his cart, his grandmother's stories by the fire. He let himself feel gratitude for these things. When he finally looked into the lake, he saw a landscape with both clouds and sun, thorns and flowers. But the sky was clearing, and there was a path leading toward light. He realized the lake was not mocking him, it was guiding him to change his inner landscape. Over time, as Raj practiced gratitude, the scenes in the lake grew brighter. The emotional cadence of this allegory moves from Raj's frustration to Lila's joy, then to Raj's transformation. The release happens when Raj understands the mirror's truth. The world reflects the heart. We, as fellow travelers, use this story to remind ourselves that complaining about external circumstances without addressing our inner state is like yelling at our reflection. The mirror will reflect whatever you show it. It is unbiased. We are invited to ask, what patterns keep showing up in my life? Do I repeatedly encounter harshness or kindness, abundance or lack? These patterns can reveal what I hold inside. If you see conflict, look inward. Is there unresolved anger? If you see scarcity, ask, do I believe I am worthy of abundance? Polishing the mirror of your heart means cultivating the emotions and beliefs you want to see reflected. Sacred practice, Polishing the inner mirror. Find a real mirror if possible and sit in front of it. If not, close your eyes and visualize your reflection. Take several deep breaths, allowing your body to relax. Look into your own eyes, not with judgment, but with curiosity. Ask silently, what does my heart mirror currently reflect to the world? Notice any feelings that arise. Maybe you see tiredness, frustration, worry, or perhaps love and joy. Acknowledge each emotion without pushing it away. Now, choose one feeling you want to cultivate more of. Peace, gratitude, compassion, excitement. Remember a time when you genuinely felt this emotion. Let that memory wash over you, igniting the desired feeling. As the emotion fills your chest, imagine it cleaning the mirror of your heart. See fog lifting, dust clearing. Notice how your expression subtly changes. Commit to returning to this feeling throughout the day. Whenever you catch your reflection in a window or spoon, check the state of your heart and polish it with the feelings you wish to reflect. Chapter 6. The Language of Symbols. Symbols whisper to our soul. The universe speaks to us in subtle ways. Beyond words and logic lies a language of symbols, images, animals, numbers, shapes, colors that bypass the rational mind and speak directly to our subconscious. The law of imagination emphasizes that symbols are bridges between our inner and outer worlds. They can serve as signposts on our path, guiding us when we are uncertain, affirming us when we doubt, and waking us when we slumber. When we tune our awareness to this symbolic language, we become co-creators with the universe's poetry. Our circle venerates symbols as sacred messengers. Many of us carry talismans, feathers, stones, small carvings. Each object holds a story and an intention. Elder Noah, whose arms are tattooed with swirling patterns and ancient glyphs, once told us of the dream weaver, a woman whose life illustrates how deeply symbols can guide. The dream weaver lived in a coastal village where fishermen depended on the sea's mood. She was known for weaving tapestries that foretold the weather, the arrival of travelers, and the births of children. People whispered that she was prophetic, perhaps touched by the gods. She denied being special. She claimed she simply listened to her dreams and understood their symbols. In one dream, she saw a snake shedding its skin and a phoenix rising from ashes. The next morning, a young man came, asking if he should leave the village to pursue a different life. He had been a fisherman like his father, but his heart yearned to travel and study herbs. The dreamweaver, thinking of the snake and phoenix, told him, "It is time to shed what no longer serves and to be reborn." He listened. He left with blessings. Years later, he returned as a respected healer, bringing new knowledge that saved lives during a disease outbreak. He credited the dreamweaver for guiding him. She smiled and said, "I merely interpreted symbols you carried in your own dream." Another time, she dreamed of a large circle with a dot in the center, surrounded by 7 triangles. The next morning, sailors asked if it was safe to sail. The dreamweaver saw the circle as the sun, the dot as their destination, and the triangles as storms. She told them to wait 7 days. They heeded her advice, and when they finally sailed, they avoided a tempest that wrecked other boats. Her ability was not magic, but literacy in the universe's symbolic language. The emotional cadence of these stories moves through uncertainty and decision, culminating in gratitude and awe. They teach us that signs and symbols surround us, waiting to guide us when we ask. They also remind us that each person's symbols are unique. While a snake may mean transformation to some, to others it may mean fear. Interpretations come from within. In our own lives, symbols appear constantly. Perhaps you keep seeing butterflies, which may represent transformation. Perhaps repeating numbers catch your eye. 11 on the clock, which may signify alignment. Perhaps certain animals cross your path. These are invitations to pause and ask, what is the message? The law of imagination invites us to co-create with these symbols. We can intentionally use them in visualizations to evoke qualities we desire. For example, if you need courage, you might visualize a lion or wear a lion charm. If you seek patience, you might meditate with the symbol of a tortoise. Over time, these symbols become allies, reminding you of the qualities you wish to cultivate. Sacred practice, receiving and embodying a symbol. Find a quiet space and sit comfortably. Close your eyes. Take 3 slow, deep breaths. Silently ask your inner wisdom, what symbol do I need most right now to guide me on my path? Then, let your mind relax. An image may float into your awareness. An animal, a shape, a number, a color. It might be something you've seen recently or something entirely new. Do not judge or search. Allow it to appear. Once it does, hold it gently in your mind. Ask yourself, what does this symbol mean to me? What qualities or messages does it carry? You may receive an immediate sense or feel compelled to research its meaning later. For now, feel the quality of the symbol in your body. If you see a hawk, perhaps you feel sharp focus. If you see a turtle, you feel grounded patience. If you see the color gold, you feel warmth and abundance. Imagine this symbol merging with you, gifting you its qualities. Over the next days, pay attention to this symbol showing up in your environment. Journal any insights. You may choose to draw this symbol, wear it as jewelry, or place its picture somewhere visible. Use it as a touchstone for your imaginative practices. Chapter 7. The Alchemy of Emotion. Emotion fuels creation. You can imagine a beautiful garden, a loving relationship, or a fulfilling career, but if your emotion does not water that vision, it remains a dry seed. The law of imagination teaches that emotion is the engine that brings images to life. Thoughts are electrical, emotions are magnetic. Together, they generate the electromagnetic field that attracts experiences. A thought without emotion is like a seed without water. It contains potential, but it will not sprout. Conversely, emotion without a clear thought is like water spilled without seeds. It may nourish temporarily, but it has nothing to grow. When we combine clear images with vibrant feelings, we alchemize our desires into reality. Our circle treats emotions not as inconveniences, but as sacred ingredients. We allow ourselves to feel deeply because each emotion contains information and energy. We gather around the fire to share our joys and griefs, knowing that suppressing feelings blocks our creative flow. Elder Zara, whose eyes flash like lightning when she speaks, tells us the story of a young magician named Amir to illuminate the alchemy of emotion. Amir discovered early that he could manifest small things by imagining them. He would picture an apple, and soon someone would offer him one. He would imagine finding a coin, and minutes later he'd spot one on the street. Intrigued and ambitious, Amir decided to manifest something bigger, a lush forest on his barren land. He imagined towering trees, birds nesting, moss-covering rocks. He thought of the shade he would enjoy, the animals that would return. But weeks turned into months, and nothing happened. Frustrated, he sought counsel from an old sage living by a waterfall. The sage listened to Amir's story with a smile. "Tell me," he asked, "when have you felt the most love or gratitude?" Amir paused. He recalled the day his sister was born. He had been 5, watching his mother hold a tiny, wrinkled bundle. When he touched his sister's small hand, his heart swelled with love so pure it hurt. The sage nodded. "The universe responds not to words alone, but to the vibration of your heart," he explained. "When you imagined the forest, did you feel it like that day?" Amir realized he had been mentally picturing trees, but emotionally frustrated and doubtful. The sage instructed him to revisit the feeling of love for his sister and combine it with his vision. Amir returned home. Each morning he sat in his yard, closed his eyes, and felt his sister's tiny hand again. He let the feeling expand. His chest warmed, his eyes softened, his breath deepened. When the feeling peaked, he imagined the forest growing on his land. He smelled damp earth and pine. He heard birds. He imagined hugging a tree with the same love he had felt for his sister. As the days passed, his emotion infused the vision. Months later, sprouts emerged. Small at first, but persistent. Years later, a forest stood where none had been. Amir's land became a sanctuary for birds, deer, and travelers. People asked, "How did you do this?" He answered, "I learned to feel my vision alive before it became so." The emotional cadence of Amir's journey begins with curiosity, ascends into frustration, peaks with the sage's wisdom, and resolves with a forest's bloom. The lesson is clear. Emotion fuels imagination. Joy, gratitude, love, and excitement are high-frequency emotions that magnetize our visions. Fear, doubt, and resentment are low-frequency emotions that repel them. But this does not mean we must avoid or suppress negative emotions. They are part of human experience and often signal where we need healing. The key is to acknowledge them, transmute them, and then cultivate emotions aligned with our desires. How can we harness emotion in practice? By recalling memories that evoke our desired feelings. If you seek more abundance, remember a time you felt abundant, perhaps receiving an unexpected gift. If you seek love, recall a moment when you gave or received love, even from a pet. Let that emotion flood your body as you imagine your vision. Over time, the combination of clear thought and matching emotion creates an energetic field that draws your desire closer. Sacred practice. Emotional alchemy. Sit in a comfortable position. Place one hand on your heart and the other on your belly. Breathe deeply, feeling both hands rise and fall. Choose a desire you want to manifest. It could be a creative project, a relationship, an experience, or a state of being. Hold this image gently in your mind. Now, recall a memory where you felt a powerful positive emotion. Joy, love, gratitude, excitement. Let this memory play like a movie. Where were you? Who was with you? What did you see, hear, smell? Allow the emotion to grow. You might feel warmth in your chest, a smile on your face, tears in your eyes. When the emotion feels vivid, overlay your desire onto it. Imagine your creative project complete while feeling that same joy. Picture your healthy body while feeling gratitude. Sense your loving relationship while feeling love that you've known. Breathe in this union of thought and emotion. Stay for several breaths, imprinting this vibration into your cells. Whenever doubts arise in daily life, return to this feeling. You are performing emotional alchemy, turning inner lead into gold. Chapter 8. Time's Elastic Threads. The past and future bend to imagination. We often think of time as a straight arrow, a line moving from birth to death, past to present to future. We speak of moving on or waiting for the right time as if we are passengers on an unchangeable train. Yet the law of imagination reveals a different relationship to time. It invites us to see time as a tapestry woven from many threads, some stretching behind us, some extending ahead, all capable of being rewoven in the present moment. Our thoughts and feelings can influence not only what lies ahead, but also how we experience what has already happened. When we change our inner narrative about the past, we free ourselves from repeating it. When we imagine a future with conviction and presence, we tug at threads that draw it toward us. Time, from this perspective, is not rigid. It is elastic and responsive. Our circle reveres time as both sacred and malleable. During one gathering around midsummer, we built a spiral of stones in a forest clearing, representing the spiral nature of time. Elder Omar stood at the center and spoke. To understand time, look at the seasons. They return, yet are never identical. The same is true of your memories and visions. They can be revisited and reinterpreted. He told us of a culture, now forgotten, that believed in three versions of time: what has happened, what is happening, and what is imagined. They treated the third as real as the first two. They honored ancestral stories, lived fully in the present, and deliberately imagined the future as a living thread. By doing so, they healed generational wounds and created new possibilities. He then shared the story of Sahana, a woman from that culture who embodied this truth. Sahana had endured a childhood heavy with hardship. Her father, broken by his own unresolved pain, had often lashed out physically and verbally. She wore the scars of these experiences not just on her skin, but in her beliefs. Whenever she tried to step into new opportunities, a voice inside said, "You are not deserving." She felt an invisible thread tying her to a past she despised. One day, in her late 20s, she met a wandering healer. The healer, an elder with eyes like soft soil, listened as Sahana poured out her story. When she finished, he said gently, "You are living as if your past is still happening. What if you could reinterpret those moments? What if you could meet your younger self and give her what she needed?" Sahana, skeptical yet curious, agreed to try. The healer asked her to lie down and close her eyes. He guided her breath until it became slow and deep. Then he invited her to visualize her younger self at various ages, 6, 10, 15, standing before her. At first, the younger Sahana appeared timid, eyes downcast, shoulders hunched. The healer whispered, "Speak to her. Tell her what you needed to hear back then." Sahana's adult voice quivered as she said, "You are not at fault. You are worthy. You are loved. You will become strong and free." As the words flowed, tears streamed down her face. She imagined hugging her younger self. She smelled the scent of dusty floors from their old house. She felt the weight of that small body in her arms. A warmth spread through Sahana's chest. She saw colors swirl around them: lavender for healing, gold for protection, emerald for growth. In that moment, something shifted. A thread that had always pulled her backward loosened. In the days that followed, Sahana noticed subtle changes. Memories that once triggered anger now evoked compassion. She realized her father's violence was his unhealed pain from his own childhood. She felt grief for him, not just resentment. She also began to notice opportunities previously invisible. A neighbor offered her a job assisting at a community garden. Working with soil and plants felt therapeutic. She found joy in nurturing seedlings, watching them sprout, and mirroring her own growth. She joined group healing circles where she shared her experiences and heard others' stories. By reimagining her past, she was no longer its prisoner. She was a new weaver of time, taking threads from her history and weaving them into a pattern of resilience and wisdom. The emotional journey in Sahana's tale moves from deep pain to compassionate reinterpretation to empowered action. It illustrates that while we cannot change what happened, we can change how it lives inside us. The law of imagination encourages us to revisit past events, not to dwell, but to heal. To speak to our younger selves, to give ourselves the love and protection we lacked. This reweaving frees energy trapped in old patterns, allowing us to direct it toward our visions. Likewise, when we imagine the future with clarity and feeling, we communicate with time. Physics and mysticism converge on the idea that the future is not fixed. When we create vivid images of our desired future and feel them as real, we align our actions and choices with that timeline. Opportunities seem to appear by chance, but we have drawn them through intention. This is not about controlling everything. It is about collaborating with the tapestry. Consider a musician who dreams of playing on a grand stage. If she merely wishes without feeling or planning, the dream remains distant. But if she vividly imagines stepping onto the stage, feeling the wood beneath her feet, hearing the applause, sensing the weight of her instrument, and if she practices daily with that vision burning inside, she pulls that future closer. If a setback occurs, an injury or rejection, she can reinterpret it as part of her narrative of perseverance, not as a reason to quit. In this way, she bends time toward her music. Sacred practice, reweaving past and future. Find a quiet place. Sit comfortably or lie down. Close your eyes. Visualize your life as a glowing thread stretching behind you, past, and ahead of you, future. See it shimmering, pulsating, like a living rope. As you breathe, let your awareness travel backward along this thread to a memory that still holds emotional charge. It could be from childhood, adolescence, or yesterday. When you arrive, observe your younger self. Notice her posture, expression, and energy. Approach with kindness. Ask her, "What do you need? What did you wish someone had told you then?" Listen. Offer her those words. If she needs protection, imagine wrapping her in light. If she needs love, imagine hugging her. If she needs permission to dream, imagine opening a door to a garden. Watch how her expression changes. See the memory's colors shift to warmer tones. Breathe compassion into this thread, allowing it to soften and glow brighter. Now, gently return to the present point on your thread. Then walk forward along it into the future, toward a scene where a dream is realized. Perhaps you see yourself standing on a stage, publishing your book, sitting at a table surrounded by loved ones, running a marathon, or waking up in a place you've always wanted to live. Observe details, the sound of your voice, the taste of the air, the feelings in your body. Notice the colors, textures, and scents. Reach out and touch your future self's hand. Ask, "What do you need me to do now to meet you?" Maybe they say, "Practice daily," or "Trust yourself," or "Move to that city." Feel their confidence and love flowing back along the thread into your current body. Know that you are connected across time. Take a deep breath, bring your awareness back to your present surroundings, and slowly open your eyes. This practice trains you to relate to time flexibly, to heal the past and invite the future. Chapter 9. The Choir of Collective Vision. Our dreams magnify when shared. Imagination is both deeply personal and profoundly communal. Each of us is a creative universe, and yet we are also part of a larger symphony. When many minds and hearts focus on a shared vision with clarity and emotion, the resulting energy amplifies beyond the sum of its parts. This is why ceremonies, rituals, and collective prayers have been potent across cultures and epochs. The law of imagination acknowledges that we are interconnected. Thus, our visions can uplift not just ourselves, but the entire tribe. When we intentionally dream together, we contribute to the collective field of reality, shaping the world we all inhabit. Our circle knows this intimately. Once every season, on the night of the new moon, when the sky is darkest and the stars are brightest, we gather by the river. We build a spiral of stones and place our intentions, written on paper or spoken softly, into the center. We sit in a circle, hold hands, and take turns speaking into the center the world we wish to see. We use present tense phrases to anchor our visions. We are healthy and vital. Our waters run clear and pure. Our children grow in wisdom and love. Creativity thrives in our community. Our elders are honored. With each vision spoken, everyone responds. So it is. Feeling the truth of those words as if already manifested, we chant, we sing, we drum. Our voices blend into a choir of collective vision. We feel the vibration rise, like waves building toward a crest. Elder Min Jae often tells the story of the Song of Healing to emphasize the power of collective imagination. In a mountain village nestled among whispering pines, there appeared an illness that spread silently and swiftly. It affected young and old alike, causing weakness and despair. The villagers tried herbs, prayers, and remedies, but little changed. In desperation, they turned to an ancient practice remembered by one of the elders. She gathered everyone in the central square and said, "Our bodies have forgotten how to heal. We must remind them through our voices." Each person was asked to sing their purest vision of health for the beloved community. The blacksmith imagined strong lungs and hearty laughter. His voice boomed like a forge. The midwife imagined abundant harvests and robust babies. Her melody was gentle but firm. Children sang of games and running through meadows. Their notes were high and innocent. Even those who couldn't sing hummed or clapped, adding rhythm to the song. The collective song lasted through the night. At dawn, as the final notes faded, a gentle rain began to fall. It was as if the sky had been moved by the song. The rain washed the village, cleansing the air, soaking the earth, and filling jars and barrels. The illness did not vanish instantly, but within days its grip loosened. People began to recover. Those who had been bedridden regained strength. The villagers credited their song as much as any medicine. They believed that by singing together, they had aligned their minds and hearts, creating a vibration that invited healing. In years to come, whenever a challenge arose, drought, conflict, scarcity, the villagers would gather and sing visions of resolution. Their song became medicine. The emotional cadence of this tale flows through fear and desperation, builds with collective intention, and resolves in healing and unity. It teaches us that our imagination is not self-centered, it is a gift to the whole. When we use it consciously for the greater good, we uplift ourselves and others. This is the essence of prayer, activism, art, and community work. Consider your role in the collective. Each thought you think contributes to a shared field. If you dwell in fear, you contribute to fear's presence. If you imagine peace, you feed the field of peace. This doesn't mean suppressing genuine concerns or positive thinking your way out of reality. It means acknowledging your feelings and then choosing to direct your energy toward visions that heal rather than harm. Imagine if millions of people envisioned clean oceans, fair systems, and healthy children with feeling and clarity. Imagine the collective field that would generate. You are not powerless. Your imagination is a thread in the communal tapestry. Sacred practice, creating a collective vision. Gather with friends, family, or community members. If you are alone, gather in spirit with people around the world who might also be dreaming. Sit in a circle if possible. Each person writes down or speaks a vision for the group or the world. Encourage specificity and positive language. For instance, instead of "we don't fight," say "we communicate with respect and understanding." After each vision is spoken, everyone says, "So it is," and feels the emotion of that reality as if present. After all, have shared, place the written visions in a bowl or bury them under a tree. If meeting virtually, imagine your words floating together like lanterns, ascending and merging. Spend a few minutes in silence, breathing together, feeling the energy in the room or across the ethers. Acknowledge that each person's imagination amplifies the others. If alone, write your visions on paper, light a candle, and imagine other candles being lit in homes across the planet. Feel the warmth of our collective dreaming. Chapter 10. The Shadow's Gift. Within darkness lies hidden light. Every human carries a shadow. This shadow is not evil. It is simply the collection of qualities, emotions, and experiences we have denied or repressed. Our anger, jealousy, grief, shame, and unhealed wounds. These parts hide because we believe they are unacceptable. When left unexamined, the shadow can shape our imagination unconsciously, attracting circumstances that mirror our unintegrated parts. The law of imagination therefore invites us not only to focus on light, but to embrace our shadow, for within its darkness lies hidden light. Integration of the shadow frees energy and expands our creative capacity. Our circle learned this through collective experience. Elder Ayana, whose laugh is as loud as her wisdom is deep, tells us the myth of the hidden sun to illustrate. In a time long past, the legend goes, the world was plunged into darkness. The sun did not rise for days, then weeks, then months. Crops withered, animals grew thin, and people lost hope. The elders remembered a prophecy that spoke of a hidden sun buried deep within the earth, guarded by a creature of shadow. Only one with the courage to enter the darkness and embrace the shadow could retrieve the sun. Many warriors tried. They entered caves with torches and swords, prepared to slay the creature. They fought monsters of rock and mirage, but never found the sun. They emerged, defeated, or did not emerge at all. Then a young woman named Tala offered herself. She was not a warrior, but a weaver who spent her days with threads and patterns. People scoffed, but Tala felt an inner call. She entered the cave with no weapons, only a small lamp. She walked deeper into the earth, feeling dampness on her skin, hearing her own heartbeat echo. Shadows danced on the walls like memories. As she reached the heart of the cave, she saw the creature. It was enormous, composed of darkness itself, with many eyes that reflected her own face. Its voice vibrated in her bones. "Why do you come?" Tala trembled but answered, "I come to bring back the sun." The creature's eyes narrowed. "No one who tries to kill me or flee has succeeded. Why should you?" Tala took a deep breath and said, "Because I am not here to destroy you. I am here to love you. You are part of this world too." The creature roared, more out of surprise than anger. Tala stepped closer, her lamp flickering. She saw that the creature's darkness contained glimmers of light like stars in a night sky. She reached out and touched its shadowed skin. To her astonishment, it felt warm. She placed her hand on her own heart with the other. In that moment, she understood the shadow was not separate from her. It was her own unacknowledged pain and fear. As she embraced the creature, it began to melt like wax in sunlight. From within its chest emerged a glowing orb, the hidden sun. Tala held the sun in her hands. It was small but warm. She carried it back through the cave. As she emerged into the world, light returned. The sun rose in the sky, brighter than before. The crops revived, animals thrived, and people celebrated. They asked Tala how she had succeeded. She smiled softly and replied, "The shadow was waiting to be loved." The emotional cadence here rises with the world's desperation, peaks with Tala's face-to-face encounter with the creature, and resolves in the revelation that loving the shadow releases light. In our circle, this myth resonates because many of us have faced our own caves. Shadows might appear in daily life as jealousy toward a friend's success, resentment toward a parent, or self-criticism. When we ignore these feelings, they grow in size and influence our imagination. We may unconsciously imagine scenarios that confirm our unworthiness or fears. But when we turn toward these feelings, ask what they need, and embrace them with compassion, we integrate the shadow. Integrated shadow energy becomes creative fuel. For example, suppressed anger can transform into healthy boundaries, suppressed grief into empathy, suppressed fear into wisdom. Shadow work is not comfortable. It requires courage and honesty. It asks us to feel emotions we have avoided, but the reward is freedom. The more shadows you integrate, the less they control you. The more light emerges from within. Sacred practice, shadow integration ritual. Choose a time when you have privacy and emotional space. Sit comfortably in a dimly lit room. Close your eyes. Take slow breaths, feeling your body relax. Visualize yourself entering a safe space. It could be a cave, a forest at dusk, or a temple. In this space, invite a shadow aspect of yourself to appear. It may manifest as a person, an animal, a shape, or simply a feeling. Allow it to show itself without judgment. Observe its appearance, size, color, and demeanor. Ask it gently, "What part of me are you? What message do you have? How have you been trying to protect me?" Listen. It may say, "I am your anger, here to protect you from being trampled," or "I am your jealousy, trying to show you what you truly desire," or "I am your sadness, asking you to slow down." Thank this shadow for its service. If it feels right, imagine stepping closer and embracing it. Feel the warmth of your compassion melting its edges. Imagine its form blending with yours, its energy integrating into your body, not as darkness, but as new strength or wisdom. Ask it for a gift or symbol to carry forward, a stone, a color, a word. When you receive it, place it in your heart space. Take a deep breath then slowly open your eyes. You have just danced with your shadow. Integration may continue over days. Be gentle with yourself. Chapter 11. The Dance of Surrender and Action. Dreams require both letting go and stepping forth. In the practice of imagination, there is a delicate dance between surrender and action. On one hand, we must hold our visions firmly, nurturing them with emotion and clarity. On the other, we must surrender our attachment to how and when they manifest, trusting in the timing and pathways of a higher order. Between these poles lies action, taking steps that align with our visions. The law of imagination is not passive. It calls us to participate in creation. We are co-creators, not bystanders. Our circle honors this dance. At one gathering, we danced around a fire to embody the interplay. The rhythm was steady, but left space for improvisation. Elder Rafi, tall and lean like a desert tree, spoke over the drums. There is a step you must take, and there is a step you must trust. When you lean too heavily on one, you stumble. Balance them, and you glide. He told us the tale of Ezra and Vida, which captures this balance vividly. Ezra was a visionary. He dreamed of building a bridge across a deep chasm that separated two clans. The chasm had existed for generations, a gaping wound created by a feud. Each clan built its life on one side, occasionally hurling insults or rocks across. Ezra envisioned a bridge that would allow families to reunite, goods to flow, and hearts to heal. He imagined the bridge's arches, its wooden planks, and the decorations that would honor both clans. He wrote detailed plans and drew intricate sketches. At night, he would stand by the cliff's edge and see the bridge in his mind, illuminated by stars. People called him a dreamer, and he smiled, knowing his vision was real inside him. But Ezra believed that imagining alone was enough. He thought if he held the vision with enough clarity, the universe would build the bridge. He waited. Days turned to weeks, weeks to years. The bridge remained in his mind and on paper. As his hair gray and his bones ached, he felt regret. On his deathbed, he whispered to his grandson, "I see the bridge, but I will never walk it." Ezra's grandson shared the vision with a young woman named Vida. She was moved by the dream and felt a surge of excitement. She, too, imagined the bridge, but she knew imagination needed action. She first went to both clans' elders and described the bridge not as a structure, but as a healing symbol. She asked for their blessings. They were skeptical but intrigued. The old feud had tired them. Vida then gathered young people from both clans. They met secretly at first, sharing stories across the chasm. They discovered that their foods were similar, their songs resonant. Each meeting built trust. Vida asked a carpenter to teach them to shape wood. She asked a mason to show them how to anchor stones. When the first plank was ready, she laid it across two rocks and invited someone from each clan to stand on it together. They trembled, holding hands. When the plank held, laughter erupted. Over months, plank by plank, rope by rope, the bridge took form. They faced storms that ripped the bridge. They faced elders' doubts and internal fears. Each time, Vida returned to her vision, surrendering attachment to timeline, and then took the next step. When the bridge was finally complete, the clans held a feast in the middle. Ezra's vision had manifested not by waiting for magic, but by combining imagination with inspired action and surrender. The emotional cadence of this story moves through the frustration of stagnation, the excitement of fresh energy, the challenges of building, and the joy of completion. It teaches us that dreaming alone is not enough, nor is blind action without vision. Surrender is not passive waiting. It is releasing the need to control every detail while remaining open to guidance. Action is not hustling. It is taking steps that feel aligned and inspired. In your own life, notice where you might be only dreaming but not acting, or acting without a clear vision. Are there desires you hold without giving them physical expression? Perhaps you dream of writing a book, but never set aside time to write. Or maybe you work tirelessly toward a goal without stopping to visualize the why and how. Both extremes can lead to frustration. The law of imagination invites harmony. Dream it, feel it, act on it, let it go, then dream again. This cycle continues. Sacred practice, the surrender and action cycle. Take a sheet of paper and fold it in half. On the left side, write vision and feeling. On the right, write inspired action. Sit comfortably. Close your eyes and bring to mind a vision you care about. A project, relationship, trip, habit, or state of being. Imagine it vividly. See the colors, hear the sounds, feel the emotions, as if it is already happening. Write down the essence of this vision in a sentence or two on the left side. Beneath it, list the emotions you feel when you imagine it. Joy, excitement, peace, gratitude. Sit with these feelings, breathing into them. Then, on the right side, write down 1 or 2 actions you can take today or this week that align with this vision. These actions should feel inspired, perhaps reaching out to someone, researching, purchasing supplies, or rearranging a space. Do not overwhelm yourself with a long to-do list. Keep it simple and focused. After writing, place your hand on the left side and say silently, "I hold this vision with love and clarity." Place your hand on the right side and say, "I will take these steps with presence and joy." Then, fold the paper so that the halves meet, symbolizing the union of surrender and action. Place it somewhere you will see it. After you complete your actions, release the outcome. Visualize placing your paper in a stream and watching it float away. Trust that what is meant to come will come in its own time, and be open to new guidance and actions. Chapter 12. Guardians of the Law, Patience and Persistence. True creation requires time. We have planted seeds, tended inner rivers, faced guardians, painted canvases, polished mirrors, listened to symbols, alchemized emotions, bent time, and dreamed collectively. Yet, one of the greatest lessons we learn as creators is patience. While imagination can manifest instantly in small ways, most dreams unfold in their own rhythm. The law of imagination is governed by 2 guardians named patience and persistence. Patience teaches us to trust divine timing, to allow seeds to sprout without digging them up every day. Persistence teaches us to continue tending our visions even when results are not yet visible. Together, they keep us aligned with our path and protect us from impatience and discouragement. Our circle honors these guardians by sitting with them, literally and figuratively. We carve wooden figures of a tortoise, patience, and a falcon, persistence, and place them on the altar during longer ceremonies. Elder Lila, who hums while she cooks and paints, shares the legend of the 2 seeds to illuminate these virtues. In a lush forest there existed 2 seeds lying side by side in the soil. Both dreamed of becoming mighty trees whose leaves would touch the clouds and roots would drink from the depths of the earth. The first seed was impatient. The moment it felt moisture, It pushed with all its might to break the soil. It used all its stored energy to sprout quickly. It emerged into the sunlight before it had grown deep roots. It reveled in the wind on its tiny leaves, but panicked when the first storm blew. Its shallow roots could not anchor it. A strong gust toppled it. It lay withering, blaming the wind for its misfortune. The second seed had learned from the elder's whispers. It felt the moisture and warmth and was eager to sprout, but it resisted the urge to push. Instead, it sent its roots deep into the soil, exploring dark spaces, weaving around rocks, drinking deeply from underground streams. This took time. Other seeds sprouted above, enjoying the sun while it remained hidden. It sometimes wondered if it was too cautious, but it trusted the process. When it finally emerged, it was strong. Its trunk was thicker, its leaves wider. It faced droughts and winds, but its deep roots anchored it. Years later, it grew into the tallest tree in the forest. Its branches provided homes for birds, its fruits fed animals, and its shade offered refuge. Its patience allowed it to gather strength. Its persistence kept it growing. It dropped countless acorns, spreading its lineage across the land. The forest later called this tree Grandmother. This story's emotional cadence moves through the first seed's impatience and downfall, the second seed's quiet growth, and culminates in enduring strength. It teaches us that not all growth is visible. Under the surface, roots are forming. When we become impatient and give up too soon, we may abandon a vision moments before its manifestation. When we persist, we align with the natural cycles of creation. Reflect on your own desires. Have you planted seeds, ideas, relationships, projects, and then doubted them when they didn't sprout instantly? Have you dug up your seeds with skepticism, saying, "Is anything happening?" Have you sprinted at the start and burned out quickly? Patience is not passive waiting, but an active trust in the unseen. It involves continuing to water the seeds even on days when the soil looks dry. Persistence is not stubbornness, but devotion to your vision. It might require adjusting your methods while keeping your goal in sight. For example, if you persistently send your creative work to publishers and receive rejections, you might persist by refining your craft or exploring alternative platforms. Persistence means you don't confuse no with never. Sacred practice, honoring patience and persistence. Sit quietly and place a hand on your belly. Breathe in gently, allowing your hand to rise. Exhale slowly. Think of a seed you have planted, a goal, habit, relationship, or dream. Visualize this seed beneath the soil of your life. In your mind's eye, watch its roots growing deep and wide, weaving through soil, finding nutrients. Imagine worms and microorganisms supporting it. Though you cannot see the sprout yet, feel the life forming. Whisper to your seed, "I trust your timing. I am patient." Feel your body relax into this trust. Now imagine yourself watering the soil daily, giving it sunlight, protecting it from weeds. These actions represent your persistence. See yourself taking consistent steps, writing pages, practicing the skill, having open conversations, saving money, exercising. Whisper, "I will care for you every day. I am persistent." Feel this commitment strengthen your spine. Whenever impatience arises in the coming days, return to this visualization. Remind yourself that great trees take time. Chapter 13. The Resonance of Gratitude. Gratitude amplifies the magic. If imagination is the brush and emotion is the paint, gratitude is the golden frame that amplifies and blesses the artwork of your life. Gratitude is the song that calls blessings to gather. It is not only a polite response, it is a resonance that aligns your vibrational field with the frequencies of abundance and love. The law of imagination teaches that when we appreciate what we already have, we raise our vibration to match our desires. Gratitude transforms scarcity into sufficiency and opens our eyes to miracles already present. It invites more of what we appreciate to flow into our lives. Our circle revolves around gratitude as the axis of our communal life. Before each meal, we pause. We hold hands, feeling the pulse in each other's palms. One by one, we speak something we are grateful for. It can be simple: the taste of warm bread, the smile of a friend, the sound of rain. It can be profound: the healing of a wound, the return of a loved one. Elder Mateo, who carries stories like seeds in his pockets, tells us the tale of the grateful traveler to illustrate the power of gratitude. G was a wanderer with no possessions except for a tattered cloak and a wooden bowl. She lived under trees, ate wild berries, and drank from rivers. Many would pity her, but G's heart was rich. Each night she would lay her cloak on the ground, look up at the stars, and say, "Thank you, sky, for your beauty. Thank you, earth, for holding me." When she found berries, she whispered, "Thank you, bushes, for nourishing me." When rain soaked her, she smiled, "Thank you, clouds, for cleansing me." Her gratitude was sincere. One day, while resting by a stream, she saw a glint in the mud. It was a golden coin. She could have used it to buy comforts, but she thought of how many travelers passed that way hungry. She buried the coin in the soil and instead planted seeds of edible plants along the path. As they grew, travelers found berries and herbs and food. Grateful, they left gifts for the one who had planted the seeds: a loaf of bread here, a warm blanket there, a song sung under the moon. Without intending, G created a corridor of abundance. She still owned little, but she never lacked. Her life was filled with exchanges of gratitude. Word of the grateful traveler spread. A wealthy farmer who had lost his way stumbled upon her path, ate from the bushes, and was moved by the generosity. He sought G and, upon finding her, offered her a cottage and land to cultivate. G initially hesitated, feeling content with her traveling life. But she saw an opportunity to expand her circle of giving. She accepted the cottage not as an escape from wandering, but as a base from which to plant more seeds. Her cottage became a refuge for many. Gratitude had attracted abundance, not because she sought it, but because her heart resonated with the frequency of generosity. The emotional cadence of this story flows from G's humble gratitude to her unexpected abundance. It teaches us that gratitude is not conditional. It is not something to withhold until after our dreams manifest. It is a practice to cultivate now. When we thank the universe for the breath in our lungs, the water in our cup, the lessons in our challenges, we shift our focus from what is missing to what is present. This shift opens us to receive more. It also breaks the cycle of endless wanting that keeps us feeling never enough. In daily life, you can cultivate gratitude in simple ways. When you wake, before your feet touch the ground, think of 3 things you appreciate: the softness of your pillow, the chirp of birds, the chance to begin again. When you drink water, silently bless it for sustaining your body. When you spend money, whisper thanks for the flow of energy. When you see a person who frustrates you, silently thank them for the opportunity to practice patience or set boundaries. Gratitude can even be extended to obstacles. Thank you, delay, for teaching me patience. This doesn't mean you must enjoy every challenge, but it allows you to extract wisdom and release resentment. Sacred practice, the gratitude ritual. Begin each day with gratitude. Keep a journal beside your bed. Upon waking, before checking any devices, write or mentally note 3 things you are grateful for. Make them specific and varied to keep the practice alive. During meals, whether alone or with others, pause and say quietly, "Thank you." Name the sources of your food, the farmers, the earth, the water, the sun, the person who cooked. Feel appreciation for the chain of hands that brought this nourishment to you. At night, before sleeping, write down 5 moments that brought you joy or insight. They can be large or small. A friend's text, a sunset, finishing a task, a stranger's smile, a lesson learned. As you imagine your desires, feel gratitude for them as if they have already arrived. Visualize yourself living your dream and say, "Thank you." Feel the gratitude radiate from your heart and ripple outward. Repeat this practice daily and notice how your inner and outer worlds respond. Chapter 14. Imagination as a healing balm. Inner vision mends outer wounds. The healing power of imagination extends beyond creating circumstances. It can mend our bodies, minds, and hearts. The law of imagination posits that our cells respond to images and feelings. Modern science supports this, showing that visualization activates similar brain regions as actual experience. Athletes use mental rehearsal to improve performance. Doctors employ guided imagery to reduce pain. Shamans and mystics have used visualization for millennia to heal wounds and illnesses. Imagination is a healing balm when applied consciously. Our circle has witnessed many healings through imagination. Elder Nia recounts the story of Anya, a dancer whose body and spirit were healed through inner vision. Anya's life was dance. From a young age, her limbs moved with grace. Her feet beat rhythms that echoed ancestors. Her body expressed stories words could not. Dance was her prayer and purpose. One winter, during a rehearsal, she slipped on a wet stage and tore a ligament. The pain was immediate and searing. Doctors told her she might never dance again. If she did, it would be limited. For weeks she lay in bed, her leg in a brace, her spirit heavy. She felt like a bird whose wings had been clipped. She cried not only from physical pain, but from the fear that the thing that brought her alive had been snatched away. One day a friend visited and brought with her a book on the mind-body connection. Anya, desperate for hope, flipped through its pages and learned that the brain cannot distinguish between vividly imagined and actual experiences. Studies showed that athletes who mentally rehearsed movements improved as much as those who physically practiced. Skeptical but curious, Anya began an inner regimen. Every morning she closed her eyes and saw herself on stage. She felt the wooden floor under her toes, heard the first notes of music, smelled the theater's musty velvet seats. She pictured her leg bending and extending effortlessly. She saw herself leaping, twirling, sweating, smiling. She felt the breeze her movement created. She allowed herself to experience the joy of dancing, not as memory but as present reality. She also imagined her injured ligament bathed in golden light. She saw cells knitting together like threads in her costumes. She thanked her leg for its healing. Each visualization session lasted 20 minutes, but she felt she had danced for hours. At first, the physical improvement was slow. Pain persisted. She questioned the practice, but she persisted, integrating other healing modalities: physical therapy, rest, proper nutrition. Weeks turned into months. Gradually, she felt strength returning. She could put weight on her leg without fear. She stood at the bar, first with trembling, then with confidence. Eventually, she danced again. Her performance was different, deeper. She moved with more grace, not just from muscle memory, but from a newfound connection to her body. She danced with gratitude for her healed leg and deeper empathy for those who suffer, her audience noticed. Critics wrote that her dancing had become more soulful. Anya later said, "My injury forced me to dance inside before I danced outside. It taught me that imagination is not only creative but curative." There are countless stories like Anya's. A man with chronic pain who imagined a river of light washing his spine and found relief. A soldier with trauma who visualized a garden growing over his memories, each flower a symbol of peace. A woman with heartache who imagined her heart as a wounded bird gradually healed its wing. These stories emphasize that visualization is not a substitute for medical care, but a complementary ally. The mind and body are not separate. They influence each other constantly. When we imagine healing with feeling, we send signals to the body to activate its own repair mechanisms. We also shift our emotional relationship to our pain, transforming fear into trust. Even emotional wounds respond to imaginative healing. If you have experienced betrayal, imagine meeting the person in a calm environment. In your mind, express what you could not say, then see them dissolving into light or returning to the earth. Imagine planting seeds of forgiveness where resentment once grew. If you are grieving, imagine your loved one as a star or a breeze, letting their presence comfort you. These practices do not erase grief, but integrate it into the tapestry of your life with peace. Sacred practice. Healing visualization. Lie down or sit comfortably where you will not be disturbed. Close your eyes. Take slow, deep breaths, inhaling healing energy, exhaling tension. Bring attention to an area of your body or heart that needs healing. Place your hands over this area if possible. Visualize a sphere of soft, radiant light above you. See it descending slowly, enveloping your body, focusing especially on the area needing healing. Imagine this light penetrating your tissues, bones, cells, or emotions. See it dissolving any dark spots, tension, or pain. Imagine tiny workers of light stitching, massaging, cleansing. If the healing needed is emotional, visualize your heart as a room. See the wound as a crack. Fill the crack with light like golden honey. Visualize your heart expanding, its walls decorated with symbols of love and strength. Feel gratitude for your body and emotions, for their messages and resilience. Stay in this visualization for as long as feels right, breathing gently. When ready, slowly open your eyes. Incorporate this practice daily, along with any physical treatments or therapies. Chapter 15. The Eternal Flame. Your imagination is an eternal flame. As we arrive at the final chapter of this sacred transmission, remember that this journey is not an ending, but a beginning. The law of imagination is not something you learn and put away. It is a flame you tend throughout your life. This flame is eternal. It existed before you were born and will continue after you leave this body. It burns in the hearth of your heart, fueled by your visions, emotions, and actions. Its light guides you home. When you tend this inner fire, you remain connected to your deepest truth and to the collective bonfire of all living beings. Our circle ends many gatherings with the ritual of the eternal flame. As dusk settles and the first stars appear, we light a central candle from an ember saved from previous ceremonies. We pass the flame from one person's candle to the next until all hold a light. We watch the room glow brighter with each shared flame. Elder Sienna, whose voice is like velvet, tells the story of the fire keepers. In an ancient village built around a sacred hearth, a fire burned continuously at the center of the town. This fire symbolized the soul of the community. Elders took turns tending it. Everyone warmed their hands, cooked their meals, and lit their torches from this fire. One year, enemies threatened to invade. The villagers feared their sacred fire would be extinguished or desecrated. The fire keepers decided to protect the flame. They placed live embers into clay pots and hid them in their clothing. Under cover of night, they fled to the mountains. In caves high above the valley, they fed the embers with breath and tiny twigs. They sang songs of courage so the embers would not die. Days turned into weeks. The invasion passed. The fire keepers returned to their village, carrying the embers. They rebuilt their hearth and rekindled the fire. It burned anew, brighter and stronger, because it had been saved by the devotion of those who believed in its importance. The flame that had warmed generations continued because people tended its essence even when threatened. The emotional cadence of this tale heightens with the threat to the flame, peaks with the firekeeper's sacrifice, and resolves in the flame's resurgence. It teaches us that our imagination, like a sacred fire, must be tended, especially during challenging times. When doubt, despair, or external chaos threatens to extinguish it, we may need to hide embers in our breath, in our prayers, our meditations, our art, and carry them until the storm passes. When conditions are right, we breathe on them and the flame blazes again. The practice of tending your inner fire means continuously feeding it with images, feelings, and actions aligned with your essence. As we close this transmission, reflect on what has stirred in you. Do you feel the warmth of your eternal flame? Do you recognize the power of your visions and emotions? Do you see the stories of Amina, Leo, Mira, Elara, Raj, and Lila, the dream weaver, Amir, Sahana, G, Anya, Tala, and Vida as mirrors of your own journey? Each of their stories is a facet of you. The seed planter, the river walker, the dragon confronter, the cosmic painter, the mirror polisher, the symbol interpreter, the emotional alchemist, the time weaver, the collective singer, the shadow embracer, the action taker, the patient seed, the grateful wanderer, the healer, and the fire keeper. May you carry these parables like talismans. May you sit by the inner fire often. May you remember that you are both the dreamer and the dream. You are both the painter and the canvas, the singer and the song. Your imagination is not just yours, it is a divine inheritance, a bridge between worlds. It connects you to all who have dreamed and all who will dream. Tend it with love, sacred practice, final blessing. Find a quiet space. Dim the lights or light a candle if possible. Sit comfortably with your spine straight. Close your eyes. Take several deep breaths, inhaling through your nose and exhaling slowly through your mouth. Imagine a small flame in the center of your chest. At first, it is the size of a candle flame. With each inhale, see it grow brighter and slightly larger. With each exhale, feel its warmth spreading through your body. Let the flame illuminate your heart, lungs, belly, arms, legs, and head. Now, imagine threads of light extending from your flame to the flames in the hearts of others. Friends, family, people you love, people you struggle with, people you don't know, animals, plants, rivers. See a network of light spanning the earth, connecting all beings. Feel the collective warmth. Whisper softly, I tend my inner flame. I honor the flames of others. I imagine a world of harmony, love, and truth. Sit in this glow for as long as you like. When ready, open your eyes and carry the warmth with you. Conclusion, a final blessing. Beloved traveler, you have journeyed through temples of metaphor and rivers of light. You have sat with elders, faced dragons, sung with your tribe, and tended an eternal flame. This book may close, but your path continues. The law of imagination now lives not just as words, but as a living law within you. As you step back into your daily life, may you carry the remembrance that you are a sacred co-creator. May each thought be a prayer, each feeling a hymn, each action a ritual. May you trust the timing of your dreams, knowing that unseen roots are growing. May you embrace your shadows with love, and may you celebrate your light without apology.